GearNetwork.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special presentation here on the Gear Radio Network. We are pleased to introduce to you and reintroduce to most of you the Turnbuckle Talk Radio Show. It is now a podcast form, the Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast with Pat G and Gabriel Soul. That's right, Gabriel Soul, the guy I always joke about how every time he comes around, I always got a fart on him. But in any event, welcome aboard, guys. Welcome back to the podcast/radio airwaves. And I look forward to, and I hope everybody else does too, forward to hearing your wrestling analysis, your takes, as only you guys can deliver. So enjoy it. Turnbuckle Talk Radio starts right now. This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Turnbuckle Talk Radio. We are back podcasting this time, so it's not live, so you can't call in, can't give us any crazy phone calls. But we are here. You already know who I am, Mr. Gabriel Soul.
Yeah, I am the producer, Pat G.
The G stands for gangster.
Yes, the G stands for gangster.
No, it doesn't. You don't say that. I say that.
You have to say that? Oh, I thought I could get away with it for one time.
No.
Thought I could get away with it at least once.
Not at all. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for joining. Thank you for joining us, should I say. Welcome to the first actual podcast that Turnbuckle Talk Radio is doing here on the brand new Gear Network.
Yes.
Yes. With the lovely sponsor of Amazon. We'll get into that a little bit later, though, but thank you for joining us.
But we have to thank JC Money.
JC Money.
The man behind Gear Network.
Yeah.
For allowing us to join his network and do what we do.
Yeah. Get on the soapbox and talk wrestling. I've been waiting for this for quite some time. I love talking wrestling.
Yes.
I was just on a phone call last night for a good hour and 20 minutes just talking wrestling. Indie wrestling, WWE, TNA, love it all. So, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk wrestling. So we're going to just jump right into it. You guys already know how we do this, and you know who we are, so we're just jump right into it. The first thing we're going to talk about, ESW.
WrestleBash, I believe.
WrestleBash. I don't even know the show. Please forgive me. Please, 100%, please forgive me.
Yeah, I believe. WrestleBash.
It is WrestleBash. That is right. WrestleBash. My apologies.
Yeah.
But it's their WrestleMania show.
Their WrestleMania show.
It's their big show of the year. ESW has been transcending for quite some time, setting flame to the indie scene of Western New York.
Oh, absolutely.
And if any Western New York company wants to be successful, hell, follow ESW's lead.
Yeah.
I don't care. I shoot straight from the hip when I talk about business, and that's business. ESW is doing it right, and that's how it should be done. They pack the house every single time there's a show put out there. They never have a show that's less than normal fans. They always pack the house and have standing room only. That's the model that you should be following, promoters out there. But that's my personal opinion.
But you just gotta look at the talent that they bring in.
True.
Not even the talent that they have.
You know what? But the thing is, the talent that they bring in and the talent that they have is still local talent.
Oh, yeah.
They just add in a nice mix.
Yeah.
The same talent that these promoters have, or the same talent that ESW has, these promoters in the Western New York area can still get as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not something where, it's a lack of talent. It's not like they're under contract. These promoters in the Western New York area can get these people. They just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just plain and simple. It's an old thing that I learned, an old saying from the times in being in the streets. Scared money don't make money. If you're scared to spend money, you're not going to make no money. And it's just plain and simple. So, but like I said, that's my soapbox to stand on with that one. But Peggy, let's jump right into this. You were unable to make WrestleBash.
Yes, I was unable due to the fact that I am a Buffalo Bandits fan, so I was enjoying the Bandits winning the Eastern Division Championship, going on to the NL Final, seeking number 5.
Seeking number 5. I hear that.
As the Bandits fans say, hashtag we want 5.
Yeah, I hear you. But with that being said, going into the first match was a great match. It was a triple tag team match. It was the Hate Brigade versus the Oliver Street Express versus Cheech and Colin, who are, what do you know their tag team name? Infinity and Beyond. Yeah. This was a great starter match. This set the tone. It had every aspect of a wrestling match. It had the high power match. It had the speed. It had the technical stuff. It had everything. Just some points in the match. Hate Brigade came out like a ball of fire and just destroyed everything that they saw in their path, hitting a phenomenal double powerbomb into two opponents, which was crazy. I mean, they are just a force to be reckoned with.
Well, that's what Bob Sapphire and Roscoe Black do. They go in and they hit high gear and they go.
Yeah. I don't even think they hit high gear. They're just always in high gear.
Yeah.
There's only one gear for the Hate Brigade. They hate automatically.
Yes.
Or Oliver Street Express. Like I said, they're an up-and-coming young team. They did hold their own in that match. They definitely tried their best. They put up their best. Cheech and Colin, these two are seasoned vets, with Colin
absolutely.
Already being in the WWE, Cheech being, another blaze setter in the Western New York area. It's something where these two together, form a great tag team. But this, like I said, this was a fast-paced match. It ended with Cheech and Colin, losing to the Oliver Street Express. Came to a chin breaker and a German. Well, I'm sorry, that was one of another big moves that Cheech and Colin did, which completely surprised me.
Yeah.
Cheech and Colin did a chin breaker on Roscoe Black, and then Cheech hit him with the German suplex.
Oh, wow.
On Roscoe Black. Now, Roscoe Black is a big guy.
Yeah.
So
he is a very large man.
he is a massive amount of a man. So hitting a German suplex on him is a feat beyond its own.
Incredible strength.
Incredible strength. But at the end of the match, Oliver Street Express actually pulled it out. They actually pulled it out and won.
This gives them a step up and gives them a lot of momentum in the ESW tag team picture.
It does. And with that, the Hate Brigade knew that, and they got pissed.
Yeah.
And they beat the hell out of Colin Delaney. They completely destroyed him. So officials had to come out and break that up. But,
oh, wow.
The Hate Brigade, and I'm
Brian
losing
DeVille.
it right. Thank you. I'm losing it right now. Wow. I've been podcasting in quite some time. I've been on the radio, so I don't even know. Brian DeVille and the Hate Brigade, they didn't stop until they were ready to stop.
Absolutely.
So I guess they tried to send Colin Delaney to Valhalla. They tried.
They tried.
They tried.
They tried.
They definitely tried.
A lot of people had to not allow that.
Oh yeah. But match 2 was Merrick, who was a newcomer, up-and-comer, young kid, you know what I'm saying? And Brandon Thurston, and Brandon Thurston is that vicious veteran.
Yes.
He reminds me of Dean Malenko.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He reminds me of Dean Malenko. He's just vicious. And he has no facial expression. He doesn't care. He's about the wrestling.
And he will get you down on the mat and just pound you until you have nothing left.
Yep, and that's it. However, Merrick Merrick is a specimen of a man. He's a young kid. He's got a nice body, nice build. So, he can hold his own, should I say.
Yeah.
With Merrick, it was a good showing. He looked very comfortable in the ring. He looked like he knew exactly what he wanted to do and how to handle and attack Brandon Thurston. However, Brandon Thurston did show that veteran skill, and he did overcome him. Unfortunately, Merrick got caught up, and he lost with a gut wrench suplex, and 1, 2, 3, that's the pinfall.
Well, against a man like Brandon Thurston, all it takes is one mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an opponent of Brandon Thurston, all he needs you to do is make one mistake, and he's got you.
Yeah,
that's just how Brandon Thurston is.
And that's how any seasoned vet is. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to rush into anything. They're going to wait for that one mistake that you make and then pounce on it, but that comes with being a veteran in the business, in any business.
Yeah.
That comes with being a vet, and Brandon Thurston is that vet. The next segment in the WrestleBash show was Beast. Beast came out, 6 other guys, and they had a sit-down strike because Beast wasn't on the card. He was pissed. He's like, I need to wrestle. Oh. And these 6 other guys were not wrestling either. And these 6 other guys were Ryan Cassidy, the team of Double Down, Gavin Glass, Kinger, and Mad Dog, who was a rookie. And these guys felt as though they needed to get a spot on the show. They said, we are going to sit here and we're not moving until we get a spot in the show. You're going to give us
I
a
have
match.
a feeling this end well for these 6 gentlemen.
So as these guys sat down and declared their alliance to Beast, Super Beast, lo and behold, you hear the music, you hear the eruption from the crowd, and everybody's looking at the entranceway, and nobody's coming out. Do you know why? Because the man that they were looking for was coming through the crowd, and his name was Sandman.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy is right. And, of course, Sandman never never ever comes to the ring unless he has his kendo stick.
No, not at all.
And he came through the crowd, and every single person in that arena erupted with ECW chants. It was amazing. It was like being a child again, watching wrestling on TV.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was amazing. And of course, he took his time getting to the ring because he was drinking beers with everybody.
Of course.
He's pouring beers, drinking them, everything.
And of course, they're in Buffalo, North Tonawanda, and everybody in this area loves to drink.
They love to drink.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, as soon as Sandman hit the ring, like I said, everybody had already pledged their alliance to Beast. With that being done, Beast decided to say, you know what? We're going to get you out of the ring, Sandman. I'm done. You know, you're not going to interrupt our sit-down strike. So he decides to send Ryan Cassidy to take out
poor Ryan Cassidy. Poor Ryan Cassidy.
Sandman decided to make Ryan Cassidy the first man to taste the kendo stick. And he tasted it. As he failed, Beast sent out Gavin Glass.
Oh, boy. another young man.
And Gavin Glass is only like 120 pounds, and that's soaking wet with the weight vest on.
This is true.
But the crack that you heard from that kendo stick across Gavin Glass' head echoed throughout the whole building. I loved it. I did. I truly did. The next people that were sent out, Double Down. He sent the tag team out. Double Down actually took the kendo stick away.
Well, 2-on-1 advantage.
2-on-1 advantage. And Sandman is a little bit older. These two young kids, young lions in the business, they took the kendo stick away from him, and they got ready to hit Sandman with the kendo stick. But Sandman, again, like we just talked about Brandon Thurston, used his veteran skills, moved out of the way. Double Down hit each other.
Hit each other.
Yep. Sandman took him out. Next up was Kinger. Kinger felt the same fate. Kendo stick, bam, done. Mad Dog was the last one left. Now, Mad Dog actually almost put Sandman out.
Oh.
The rookie almost put down the vet, but after he already took out 5 other guys.
This is true.
But yet, Mad Dog did suffer kendo stick Russian leg sweep.
The unfortunate fate.
The unfortunate fate of Mad Dog. And then Beast, noticing that all of his comrades that pledged allegiance to him, were done, he immediately decided to exit the ring and say, we'll talk later. This isn't done yet.
Yeah.
Decided
to take a higher ground and take the safe route for the rest of the night.
Oh, yeah. So, match 3 was the tag team match for the tag titles. No disqualification, street fight. The Rochester Wrecking Crew versus the team of Puma and Feathers. You have it there? Oh, you do have it there, don't you?
Yeah, I got the match.
Well, the whole shebang there.
The results.
So with that being said, this was an all-out brawl. This wasn't a wrestling match whatsoever. These two guys hated each other, and to a point where you can just feel the intensity and hatred bouncing off of each other. There was chairs. There were ladders. People got suplexed in the ladders, suplexed in the chairs thrown, DDTs. Everything. I can't even express the carnage that happened during this match. With that, Rochester Wrecking Crew, they're the ones that brought the chairs in. They initially went in and used them on Frankie Feathers. That's when the Rochester Wrecking Crew got the ladder. And Hellcat got suplexed through the ladder.
Oof.
Double
That's
suplex.
That's not a good feeling.
Double suplex right through the ladder. Unfortunately, towards the end of the match, the Rochester Wrecking Crew did put enough punishment on the tag team champions. And unfortunately, they are now the new tag team champs.
Well, for the last year or so, as far as the ESW tag team title scene has gone, it's been a quote-unquote triple threat war.
Mm-hmm.
Between the Rochester Wrecking Crew of Hellcat and Rob Sweet, Frankie Feathers and Johnny Puma, and the Hate Brigade of Roscoe Black and Bobby Sapphire.
Right.
Well, Hate Brigade had the titles. Puma and Feathers won them.
Right.
And now the titles are on the Wrecking Crew.
Right.
And due to the fact that earlier in the night, the triple threat tag match with the Hate Brigade, Infinity Beyond, Oliver Street Express. As you said, the Hate Brigade realized that the Oliver Street Express winning that match puts them...
It catapults them up.
Puts them higher up the food chain over the Hate Brigade, so the Hate Brigade did what they did.
Yeah.
But now the tag team titles are on the team that is known as the longest reigning ESW tag team champions in history. That's a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
Especially considering that they've had these belts before and they've held them longer than any other team ever has in ESW.
Yeah. So I mean, this is shaping up to be an awesome tag team division. Again, I say it to a lot of promoters in the area. Take notes, because this is how it should be done. Match 4, in my personal opinion, match of the night. And I'm calling it early just because there are great matches on this card, yet I feel as though this was match of the night. Kevin Bennett versus Pepper Parks. This is how a match should be wrestled. Technical. It was back and forth. Pepper Parks, Kevin Bennett, they shined at their craft. They both brought their A game. Beginning of the match was Pepper was up, Kevin Bennett was up, Pepper was up, Kevin Bennett was up, and they both couldn't get each other in a move, even though Pepper Parks is the vet, in this match and TNA superstar now.
Yes.
Pepper still was trying to, he didn't take Kevin Bennett lightly. I just don't think he took Kevin Bennett seriously enough to understand that Kevin was bringing his A game. And that's exactly what Kevin did. And
Kevin's been around. He's gone up to Canada. He's wrestled in Smash. Mm-hmm. He's wrestled out at IWF and whatnot. So he's been around. So he's got experience. Right. Maybe not to the level of what Pepper Parks has, but when Kevin Bennett wants to bring his A game, this shows you Kevin Bennett's A game is there.
Exactly. One of the major points that kind of just had me looking and watching and waiting was Pepper Parks. Actually, Kevin Bennett went up to the top rope to execute a high maneuver. Pepper Parks stopped him, got him on his shoulders, and got ready to do a rolling thunder from the second rope. Got ready to just completely decimate Kevin Bennett. Kevin Bennett saw it coming, and with that young lion skill, that young lion heart, he stopped him, hit him with a couple of elbows, dazed Pepper Parks for a little bit, hit him with that hurricanrana from the top rope.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. In the end, however, veteran skill prevailed.
Of course.
Kevin Bennett messed up. He may have gotten a little cocky, or may have got too excited. Pepper Parks hit him with that pay dirt, and 1, 2, 3, that's the pinfall. At the end, however, Pepper Parks did raise Kevin Bennett's hand, shook hands, raised his hand, did a great job, kid.
Maybe passing of the torch to a point.
Yeah, I wouldn't say passing the torch because, Pepper is still Pepper.
Yeah.
Pepper's still in the area.
Yeah.
Promoters, you guys can still book a great talent in Pepper Parks. So, I wouldn't say passing a torch, just giving him the congratulations that Kevin Bennett deserves for being at the skill level that he is right now. Match number 5, which was one of the top contenders for match of the night, in my opinion, again, like I said, was Asylum and John McChesney. Now, John McChesney had hired muscle, and unfortunately, I don't know who this guy was.
I believe, from what I've seen online as far as following Team Big League, is I believe the man is known as JB Smooth.
JB Smooth, yes. Okay, that does sound familiar now. JB Smooth, 7 feet tall, big black guy, lean, muscular, just a massive mountain of a man. This was a good match as well, but Asylum just completely, came into the match ready to destroy John McChesney. As Asylum started the match off and completely took over immediately, Asylum hit John McChesney with 4 suplex throws.
Oh, wow.
From corner to corner. And they were beautiful. Padgett, you missed a good match. Like I said, this was top contender for match of the night with me, but unfortunately, like I said, I had to pick one with the 4 suplex throws, going for 5, and McChesney somehow got out the ring. Then there was a huge superplex done. Asylum hit a superplex on McChesney. But then McChesney starts to come back and rally back, and McChesney hits him with a super kick. 1, 2, kick out. And that's what it is. But the finish of the match, the way the match ended in a DQ because McChesney pulled out the old Guerrero. I think he was watching some Guerrero before he came out there.
Yeah.
Took his boot off, threw it at Asylum and fell. The right way, the way you're supposed to do it. Right, Pat G?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually waiting for this match to do this podcast with you. This was the best part of the podcast right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't know how to do the Guerrero finish, then some people need to watch this match. Referee has their back turned, you throw the item, and you fall. That's how Guerrero did it on TV. That's how you should be doing it now. You don't wait till the referee's looking directly at you and then you fall. But when the referee turned around, Asylum had the boot in his hand. John McChesney's already on the ground. That's ringing the bell.
Yeah.
That's how it's done. So McChesney won by disqualification. Match number 6 was a gauntlet match. Huge pinfall submission over the top gauntlet match with 10 people. This match was unfortunately hard to follow because there were so many things going on and so many people trying to do so many different things. And I don't know if there was a storyline for certain people or not.
Yeah, just to kind of maybe move on after the fact, after this gauntlet.
Yeah. However, in this gauntlet, Colin Delaney was supposed to be in it. Unfortunately, because Colin Delaney was decimated early in the night, Johnny Puma actually came out.
Oh, wow.
And was placed into the match with 9 other people. Big Cat Lemur, Jerk Cockins, Mikey Everynight, who I love, Vince Valor, another great guy I love, Space Monkey, who's amazing, who the fans actually love Space Monkey. Yo, they pop for Space Monkey.
Yeah, he's a definite fan favorite at ESW.
I mean, they pop for Space Monkey hard. And they were pissed too, but we'll talk about that in a second. Johnny Inferno, Yuri Koloff, Riot, and then Falco. And of course, like I said, Puma was also entered into the match.
Course.
And like I said, this match was super hard to follow, unfortunately, because there was so much going on. But the eliminations in order together were Big Cat Lemur and Falco at the same time, as those two fought some more and went into the crowd, which it was hard to follow because there were things still going on in the ring as people were still fighting and making a big scene. It was hard to follow what was going on over there as they fought to the crowd and to the bleachers. The elimination was Mikey Everynight. After that, Jerk Cockins. Here, when Space Monkey was eliminated by Johnny Inferno, they were chanting Space Monkey's name all day long. As soon as Johnny Inferno eliminated Space Monkey, Johnny Inferno, one of the biggest faces in ESW, they love him, they booed the hell out of him.
Oh, wow.
They booed the hell out of Johnny Inferno.
Wow.
You know, but it was just, it's crazy. Next elimination was Yuri Koloff. Then Riot was eliminated. Then Vince Valor was eliminated. Then, last but not least, there were 2 men left, Johnny Puma and Johnny Inferno, and Johnny Inferno was eliminated. Puma is now the number 1 contender.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember which title it's for, unfortunately.
ESW heavyweight title.
It is for the heavyweight title, so it is for the heavyweight title. So Puma is going into his title hunt, you know, and he's definitely coming with his A game. I mean, Puma is a vet that has been around. Unfortunately, I was supposed to wrestle Puma at a previous show, but I did get injured. Speaking on the injury, I will be back probably September, October time, you know, so we'll expect to see me somewhere, anywhere. You know, I'm not one of the, you know, the 40-mile vets that only works one show. I definitely work a lot of other places. So you definitely see me and watch the matches on YouTube. I get out. Match number 7 was for the Elio DiPaolo Cup, which was stolen. So it's not for the actual cup match. It's to say, hey, give me back my cup, you thief.
Yes.
Which was Cody Deaner and Big Time Bill Collier. And this, again, like I said, was another candidate for match of the night with me because Big Time, I love Big Time. I love the way Big Time works. I love the way he looks. You know, Big Time is exactly what he says he is. He is Big Time. Cody Deaner is another guy who is awesome in the ring. He's known across, you know,
the East Coast.
East Coast, thank you.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
as well as Canada.
Yeah, I was gonna say Eastern America, but that would have sounded stupid. East Coast, you know, he's wrestled with GFW. You know, Jeff Jarrett knows him. You know, so I mean, and Canada, he's from Canada, so he's done his thing. This match was a great match. This match was that roller coaster match. You know, and this is how, if you are new in the business, you need to watch this match. This match was a roller coaster match. It was the up and down, where we climb, we give you, we get ready to give you something. We get you all the way to the top and bam, we give it to you and you go all the way down. Yeah. Once you get back down to that bottom, we build you back up again to want something big again. So we don't give you something big right away. We give you something big and we build to it. And that's exactly what this match was. And I documented, I mean, this is how a match should be. It was just a great match. Big Time did come out the victor. He finished him off with that big punch that Big Time does. Felt that punch before and it busted my whole bottom lip up. You know, took a picture of it. I think I put it on Facebook. I gotta see. Anyway.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah. From there we went to intermission. And then we went into match number 8. the interstate title match. This was a good match. RJ City, the champion, versus the returning Coconut Jones. Yeah, returning Coconut Jones, which is awesome. Crowd went crazy for Coconut. You know, Coconut bringing his repertoire of what he does, you know, that fast-paced, you know, he does, you know, he is a smaller guy, but he has those moves that can put you down and keep you down.
Yeah.
For at least that 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, RJ City being the champion, you know, he knows what he's up against. With that, however, RJ City, of course, is accompanied by Brian DeVille.
This is true.
Which is his ace in the hole. So with Brian DeVille being out there,
I do know that they've had some disagreements with one cameraman at ESW.
They have, and I was just getting into that. So throughout the match, there came a time where RJ City he went to pin Coconut Jones and put his feet on the ropes. Okay. Anthony Nicometti saw this.
Yes.
And as the camera guy, you usually don't say anything. But he did get up. He got up on the ropes and he signaled the ref, "Hey, ref, look at this. You know, you're not going to cheat your way out of this one."
Yeah.
RJ City got up. Anthony Nicometti's on the apron. And Nicometti being the camera guy, he's on the apron recording the stuff. RJ City turns around and spits in his face.
Oh, wow.
100% complete disrespect. Now, me being the man that I am, you spit in my face, I'm going to break your jaw.
Yeah.
That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
We don't play those games. Nicometti, being the man that he is, put the camera down and waited. Waited for his time to strike. He knew something was going to happen where he did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what happened. I'm sorry. Looking over the information, just trying to remember how the match went. RJ City went for an O'Connor roll and got reversed. And Coconut Jones is getting ready to roll him up. RJ City is holding on to the ropes. As he's holding on to the ropes, Brian DeVille gets on top of the ropes and holds on to RJ City's hands. As Anthony Nicometti sees this, he gets up top on the apron, super kicks Brian DeVille.
Oh, wow.
And it was a beautiful super kick. Such a beautiful super kick.
Oh.
You know, such a beautiful super kick. Which in turn made RJ City let go of the ropes.
Yeah.
Roll up on the O'Connor roll. 1, 2, 3.
New champion. Coconut
Jones. It was a great match. It really was. Match number 9 was Michael Elgin versus Chris Hero.
A match that a lot of us have seen various places, but to see it live in person is different than watching it on TV or a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean,
but like it's a match that we've all seen before.
Yes. In all honesty, I mean, you can't. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this match. It didn't impress me.
No,
I mean, and I don't mean that in a. I don't know. I didn't mean it in a. I don't mean that in a way where I'm trying to, you know, big league anybody, because I'm not a big league. I'm just saying as a fan, because I went as a fan.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't impressed with this match whatsoever. After seeing all these other matches occur and all these, you know, big moves and all these big things happen and finish guys off, this match had like 15 Yakuza kicks.
Oh, wow.
Know, and like 15 rolling elbows. And these guys still kicked out. And I don't care who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because if you hit somebody with your finish,
usually it's over. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3. You know, and I mean the match ended with another rolling elbow. Like, so you just hit him with 15 of them.
It's one of them. It's one of the matches that you're working. You're in your head. You're working a TV match with false finish, but you're not on TV. You're in a live event.
Yep.
So live events are meant to be try something different.
Yeah, they were playing safe with the knowledge of knowing each other. Yeah, you know. So I mean, like I said, I wasn't impressed. You know, but that's why I didn't document anything on this match, unfortunately. Match 10. I'm sorry. Match ended with Chris Hero hitting with the rolling elbow. 1, 2, 3 pin. You know, match number 10 was for the ESW heavyweight title, which was Chris Cooper, Will Clarician, and the returning Dalton Castle ROH superstar.
Chris Cooper having to deal with the Peacock Express.
Listen, this match was amazing. This match was funny. It had fun stuff. It had good stuff. It was good. So with this match being done, it was Will Clarician and Dalton Castle. After they saw each other and after they started to, fight a little bit, they both stopped each other and they said, "Hey, wait a minute. We're friends. Let's do this." And they brought back a lot of the Peacock tag team stuff.
Of course.
Dalton Castle put Will Clarician on his shoulders, did the whole Peacock suplex, everything. It was just amazing. They did the suplex from the one rope. Dalton Castle did the splash from the other rope. Great tag team moves on Chris Cooper. However, Will Clarician said, "You know what?
I'm your champ.
Your usefulness is done now, Dalton."
Yeah.
And backstab Dalton. So, after that happened, Chris Cooper and Will Clarician, they started to do their tag team stuff because they're friends. And from there, they did all their stuff. So, after that, of course, Will Clarician said, your usefulness is done as well. And backstab Chris Cooper.
Which probably put Clarician in the spot that you've used these guys to gain an advantage.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, once you've decided that you're done with them, I'm done with you.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, after that happened, Chris Cooper and Dalton Castle looked at each other and said, "Wait a minute. We should work together right now." Will Clarician said, whoa, wait a minute. Dalton, you were my friend. And Chris, you were my friend. But wait a minute, Dalton and Chris, you two were never friends. What are you guys doing? They looked at each other, said, "You know what? He's right." And they both punched him right in the face.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. However, it was an elimination triple threat. With that being said, Chris Cooper did get eliminated first, which left Dalton Castle and Will Clarician to wrestle. They had a great match. It ended with a countout, though. Dalton Castle did get eliminated by countout. And Will Clarician did continue to keep his title. Great match, like I said. With the main event coming up,
yes,
crowd went crazy again.
Oh, of course.
DX versus Cloudy and Ethan Page. This match was awesome. The entrance alone was awesome.
Yeah.
With that being done, as soon as they got to the ring, X-Pac got to the ring, grabbed the microphone, and he proceeded to talk, and everything he said was,
yeah, I heard about that.
Because I guess he forgot how to talk into a microphone. So, as soon as Billy Gunn got the mic, and we got 2 words for you, suck it. So the crowd went crazy. During the match, funny thing, Ethan Page is wrestling Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, body slams, elbow, hip toss.
Yeah.
Gets up and looks at him and says, "Suck it," really loud. Ethan Page looks at him, looks at Cloudy, and drops down to his knees. And he's looking like, well, you want me to suck it? And Billy Gunn's looking at him like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" So Billy Gunn looks at X-Pac, and he's like, "Well," and Ethan Page is pointing at his private area to say, "Hey,
oh, Jesus,
you want me to suck it?" And X-Pac grabs the microphone and he says, he means figuratively, not literally. So Ethan Page gets up and, he's still mesmerized and baffled. Like,
of course.
"You told me to suck it. What do you want me to do?" Cloudy comes in. After that, Cloudy and X-Pac work a little bit. And from there on in, DX completely decimates them and they get the win. But that was ESW WrestleBash. It was a great, great night, great show, great seeing a lot of my friends, But with that being said, that was just an awesome night of wrestling. Awesome, just completely awesome.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up ESW, they have another show this weekend, but not in Buffalo, downtown. They're going to be down in Olean. and it's going to be at Good Times of Olean. ESW presents Turn It Up with special guests Scotty Juhadi and the Pope.
Awesome.
They've announced a couple of matches. ESW heavyweight champion Will Carisian will defend his title against Scotty Juhadi. Big time Bill Collier will be taking on the Pope. Hellcat will be facing Ryan Cassidy. Also in action will be Big Cat Lemmer, Kevin Bennett, Brandon Thurston, Vince Fowler, and many more.
Okay. See, and that's, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, not even ladies and gentlemen, but promoters that listen to this. I'm pretty sure there's probably one or two that listens.
Oh, yeah.
This is how you promote your show and book a card. You know, this is how you promote your business, your craft. You know, like you're not a promoter just because you want to do wrestling. You're a promoter because you want to make money. You know, and that's what it is. Don't make it seem like you're not. But with that being said, we're going to take a break.
Yep.
And we will get back to you as soon as we're done.
Ooh, yeah, it's the Macho Man here. Yeah, talking to you, yeah, from, beyond the realm of spectrum. Yeah, all the other greats are, Dusty Rhodes is over there, Roddy Piper right over there. I got Balls and Axel right over there, and we're around the radio, radio in our faraway land, so we can listen to you, talking wrestling on Gear Network, we want to hear JC talk about wrestling, we want to hear who he's interviewing, some of these young up-and-comers, I want to hear what they're about, and I want to hear them talk about how much of an inspiration the Macho Man really was for them, dig it. I dig it. Wow, freak out. I'm doing a commercial. Right here, Gear Network, talking wrestling. Listen in, as that Perez guy would say. Dig it.
The Talking Wrestling Podcast, every 2 weeks through SummerSlam, here on the Gear Radio Network.
Hello, Sanjay. What are you doing? I am using my Gear Network app on my mobile device, my friend. Oh, Gear Network app. What is that? Well, do you listen to Get Ready America? No. Do you listen to Better Life Than Dead? No. Do you listen to Misguided Musings? I do not. No. Well, my friend, they are very good shows and they are on this network. You can download the app by visiting gearnetwork.mobapp.at and download it on your Android device and save it to your home screen on your Apple device. What is Android? That is an operating system. What is Apple? That is another operating system. Oh, but I cannot eat that operating apple? No, you cannot eat that operating apple. However, you can go onto the Gear Network app and shop on the Amazon and have Apple delivered to you. Oh, that is wonderful. Gear Network app. Hooray!
Welcome back to the Turnbuckle Talk podcast. But before we get back to talking about what we have for the rest of the show, we have a little bit of a sponsorship that we need to discuss.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Really?
Yes, we do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Turnbuckle Talk Radio podcast is sponsored by the Gear Network store through Amazon. If you visit gearnetwork.com/Amazon and click on any of the banners, it will take you right into your account and you can do all your Amazon shopping there. Just like you would do normally if you logged in without the link. You know, you can still do the shopping. It doesn't change anything at all. But the only thing that it does, the great thing that it does, is that when you do this through Gear Network, it lets Amazon know that you're listening to Gear Network. And it also lets Amazon kick something back to us so that we can continue to bring all these great products and great shows and pay the bills for the Gear Network. Because JC Money doesn't really have any money. That's why his name is JC Money. But anyway, but check us out. Go to Amazon, gearnetwork.com/Amazon. Click on the link, any of the links, pay for your stuff there, kick back to the Gear Network. You know how we do things.
And speaking of the Gear Network, they have a bunch of shows that you can listen to. Get Ready America, Talking Wrestling, and many more. So after you're done doing your Amazon shopping, of course, check out the Gear Network. And
yeah. All right, so next thing on the agenda is something that's kind of near and dear. Also kind of heartbreaking. Would you say heartbreaking? We're going to say heartbreaking? No, not really heartbreaking. You know. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. An unfortunate series of events.
An unfortunate series of events. OSPW, Old School Pro Wrestling, after 14 years in the business, is closing its doors. And it's kind of crazy. It's down to the last 3 shows.
Yes.
Last 3 short tour.
The farewell voyage.
Farewell tour voyage. Last show we saw a great match, Tripp and Sean Carr wrestle.
Yes.
So it's
being match number 1 of the final 4.
Yeah.
For Tripp.
And it's funny that, Tripp has his last 4 matches scheduled and then OSPW is over.
And this, it's an interesting development.
Yeah. Interesting how the timeline falls there. Yeah, Tripp, I said it. Fight me. I love you, bro. But I mean, it's still funny. It's still crazy because OSPW is where I got my start. OSPW is where I trained. Some going on 7 years now. So it's something where it was home.
Yeah.
I mean, there are always ups and downs. However, with the company closing its doors, it affects a lot of people. It affects the guys that, hustle and bust their ass to get here to wrestle for OSPW. It affects the,
just look at the younger talent that come out of the training center Mikey Evernate's running.
Yeah.
That they're getting their shoes wet or their feet wet finally.
Yeah.
And here's OSPW closing its doors in 3 months, 4 months.
Yep. I mean, but it also affects, and this is where the guns come out. It also affects the one-hit wonders, the 40-mile vets. The guys that want to wrestle at different places but can't, or guys that wrestle only one place.
I smell smoke.
And no, this is a straight shot.
Oh,
no, this is straight bullets. You see them.
You see them coming.
Yeah, you see them coming. This is for the people that act as though they're veterans but only work one place at a month and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, because like I've said on my personal page and on my Facebook page, Gabriel Soul page, come September, there's going to be a lot of Western New York wrestlers not seen anymore.
I did see that.
And I mean, and it is what it is. A lot of guys aren't going to be able to get spots anywhere. A lot of guys are going to try and come to a locker room, at ESW, MFW, UPW,
even Riverworks Wrestling.
Riverworks.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get a spot. There's going to be people there that's going to be like, nah, dude, who are you? You haven't done anything. You haven't been anywhere, or, for the simple fact that I know what you've done and I know where you've been and I don't want that.
Yeah.
Unless you got somebody that's completely 100% vouching for you, that knows your work ethic, then you're not going to do anything. You might
you're not going to get by on name alone.
Yep. You might as well hang it up, but that's what it is. It's crazy that OSPW is closing. Sean Cooper, the owner of OSPW, has decided to hang it up, hang the promoter business up. And, with the Cooper family being so heavily into the business as they were.
Yeah. It had to be a long talking decision as far as family wise.
Yep. Yeah, it did. I'm sure it was, so, I mean, with that being said, it's like I said, it's bittersweet, because they've gone for 14 years, one of the longest running wrestling companies in the industry. However, you know, with going 14 years, you have a legacy now. You know, you could go longer.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
However, there's other things that could, you know, push the envelope on that. But do we really touch on that? Do you want to touch on the shooting more of it?
If you want to, it's fine. It's a podcast. We don't really, like I said, I'm gonna shoot a little bit.
Shoot.
As far as
let's see what your gun does.
As far as what Turnbuckle Talk Radio was and the years that it was on WBNY,
right,
from 2006 when it was created by Chris Gullo to all the way till 2015 when we had our last episode due to whatever reasons WBNY had for telling me that the show is no longer welcomed. Okay, whether it be personal, whether it be people complaining, whether it be the phone calls that were by people that knew us or jokes or whatever and whatnot. The thing is it was a decision that I had no control over. I did the best I could to fight it. I couldn't fight it. So I made a choice. Okay, fine. This is what we're going to do. That last episode, we went off. Whatever. Now that we're moving to a podcast, yes, thanks to JC, we're on Gear Network.
Right.
But with this podcast, we're going to talk wrestling and we're going to focus on the independents, but nothing's going to be held back.
Oh.
Nothing.
Oh, wow.
If we drop names, we drop names.
Okay.
If we call people out, we call people out.
Well,
because I've over the last couple of months, I've listened to other podcasts, wrestling podcasts, and everybody, for the most part, is the same MO. WWE, TNA, ROH, Lucha Underground, maybe some independents, maybe some other news here. This is the thing. With the people that will be on this show, guest hosting, being interviewed,
right?
Yourself, me, who are actually in the business, who have worked in the business.
Right.
Behind the scenes. This is the thing. That opens up a whole nother door and window into the wrestling world. Because I'm sorry, there's a lot of people that do podcasts and radio shows and that think they know wrestling, and just because they know of a few insider terms and whatnot, they think they're smart. They're not. This is the thing. This is what this podcast is going to do. We're going to talk wrestling. We're going to everybody the shine that they deserve. But the people that bury themselves, we're going to bury them more.
Wow.
Because they deserve it.
Wow. Okay.
And if you don't like it, tough. I don't care. Because you know what?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen,
podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, this has been Pat G's soapbox.
Yes.
I
built my soapbox. I stand on it. I had it. Now the soapbox is put away for the time being.
All right. So with that being said, then, since Pat G said we're just going to shoot from the hip and not even care. Wow. So with that being said, it's something where OSPW is closing because from a business standpoint, I honestly feel, and it brings me back to what I said in the beginning of the podcast, scared money doesn't make money. There are a lot of positives with OSPW.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of positives. He gives spots to a lot of the guys, gives their first tries. He gave Sean Carr his first try, and which we talk about in the interview coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He opens the door. He's very forgiving, However, there are a lot of negatives, One, guys don't get paid.
And that's something that we've talked about even when we were on the radio.
Yeah.
Is guys on the independent scene and getting paid.
Right. And OSPW, unfortunately, is one of those companies that don't. They just started paying as per ticket sales, but that's not paying me for my skills. That's not paying me for my services that are being rendered.
Yeah.
You're paying me for ticket sales.
You're paying yourself and other people who go out and perform in the ring for how many people they can get to come to the show on a certain day.
Right. When wrestlers are paid, when a promoter gets in contact with someone, they say, well, how much are you, do you charge? Because they want you to come wrestle for them. So you're being paid for your wrestling skills.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, OSPW doesn't do that. I feel as though, in my personal opinion, wrestling fees for wrestlers are calculated at the beginning before a show is even done.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a part of venue. It's a part of insurance. It's a part of doctor fee.
Yep.
Wrestlers getting paid.
It's part of the overall budget. And
exactly.
We've talked about that. And we've talked about that. Where if you're a promoter, you have a budget. To start. You have to rent a venue. You have to get insurance. You have to get a doctor. Those are the three things you need. Main thing. After that, that's when you go, okay, how much is it going to be combined to have everybody on the show? Mm-hmm. For whether it's your home base talent, whether it's talent you're bringing in,
right? That's
the thing. Then after that, you have,
but with that money
whatever else,
right? But with that money that's left over, once you already have that planned out, that's where the word promoter comes in at.
Yes.
Now, of course, yes, the boys should be helping out and helping to promote their brand and themselves because it's an independent show.
Of course.
So, yes, you should be out there flyering. You know what I'm saying? You should be out there, helping to sell tickets. Yes. That's not the wrestler's job, however. Wrestlers that are an hour, 2 hours away, how can I sell tickets?
Exactly.
How can I get $1, sold to a ticket and I live an hour away or 2 hours away?
Yeah. There's some guys that live 5-6 hours away.
Yeah. I'm not in your region to sell tickets or flyer.
Yeah.
So that means I'm here to wrestle and you're going to pay me for my wrestling skill.
Exactly.
As a promoter, that is your job to promote. That is what the name is for. Promoter. Promoting. This is your company. You are supposed to promote it. If my shoot job told me to go out here and say, hey, I need you to sign these people up for insurance and didn't pay me for it.
Yeah.
No, you can kick rocks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As my employer, they know that they have to bring in the company. They have to bring in the people so that I can do my job in keeping them and retaining them.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with wrestling. The promoter's position is to bring in the people to say, hey, come watch this show. This is a great show. And then Gabriel Soul's job is to make sure when they see this show, they enjoy it and they love it and they see what I can do.
Exactly.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Well, and this rolls into, and as you're talking promotion, okay? You look at ESW, and I'm just saying ESW because they're in the area, okay? They had a show this past weekend, or last weekend, or whatever. They got a show this weekend, and they have a show on the 18th in June.
Right.
So they have
That's three shows.
Three shows in a matter of 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Yep. Within a month and a half's time.
As soon as...
And they're all in different locations.
Yeah. They were in Tonawanda.
Lockport, Olean.
Yeah. Olean, and then
Olean.
And back and whatnot.
And in Lockport, Olean, and Tonawanda.
Yeah. So 3 different locations. And they've been promoting, and ever since pretty much since like halfway through last week, they were still promoting the show that they had. Mm-hmm. But once that show got done, it was instantly switch gears to Olean.
Yep.
Also, they're also starting the early promotion on the June 18th show. Mm-hmm. Now, considering OSPW, you can promote on Facebook.
I honestly, and to stop you there, I'm sorry. I disagree with that 100%. Because promoting on Facebook, unless you're paying for it, unless you're going to put the money in, which is scared money don't make money still, if you're promoting on Facebook and you're not doing it through Facebook the paid way, then you're not promoting. Because all you're doing is promoting to the people that already know that you're a wrestler.
Yeah. Well,
the ones that aren't going to come, the ones that are going to say they're going to come, or the ones that will come.
Yeah.
Or the ones that's going to say I'm going to come and then don't show up.
The ones that, that's the thing. Like, you can post, I have this show, this date, or whatever.
Yep.
But these people that either you're friends with on your personal page,
yep,
or like your fan page, mm-hmm, they already know.
Yep. So and unless those friends or fans dedicate to sharing that page to the friends that aren't yours and sees that, it's not going to work. But then on top of that, when they do that, how many of those friends that they're sharing it to aren't in your area? So I feel as though Facebook promoting is not promoting whatsoever.
Unless you actually go through the paid method of it.
Yep. And that's where a lot of these promoters now are losing it, because they want to say, I promote, share it on Facebook, share it on Facebook. Sharing on Facebook doesn't do shit.
No,
it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
It shares it to the people that already know I'm a wrestler.
Yep. And this is the thing is, for the upcoming show, as far as OSPW, they're in Cheektowaga. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for a Fed. Granted, it wasn't the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. We're going to say company, not Fed. Fed is a big...
Okay. I used to work for a company. Granted, it wasn't the best in the world. Granted, I wasn't treated great at times and whatnot. Right. But they were in Cheektowaga. The venue that the shows were in, a lot of times, because of a certain guy, of the small amount of people, that venue was packed.
Right.
Was standing room only at times.
Right. But said company also promoted. Said company went out and promoted. That promoter did his due diligence and got sponsors. He went out and did due diligence on his own.
Yes.
As a promoter.
Yeah.
As much as I hate the bastard.
Yeah.
He went out, got a sponsor who gave thousands of dollars.
Yep.
He went out, got a sponsor, or he went out and promoted and flyered for his show so he can get the
everywhere possible.
Everywhere possible. So he did the job responsibility as a promoter, and that's what a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I follow a lot of wrestling stuff on Facebook, so do you. It's the thing. Facebook only goes so far.
Facebook only goes to the people that are your friends.
Yep.
That's it. And they already know that you're a wrestler. And half of your friends on there are going to say, I'm not going. The other half are going to tell you, I'm sorry, the half of your friends are going to say they're not going to go.
A quarter will say...
I'm sorry. Let me take that equation back again. 25% of your friends aren't in your area.
Yep.
So they're not going to go regardless.
Oh, yeah.
25% of your fans aren't going to go, period, because they don't want to go. They don't like wrestling.
Yep.
Another 25% of your fans are going to say they're going to go and then never show up.
Of course.
And then the last 25% are going to go.
Yep.
So you're always going to get that 25%, and that may be lower because they may not be able to go at that time because they have something planned.
Exactly. Well, prime example. Right now, like I said, I couldn't go to ESW because I went to the Bandits game.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. Yeah, is on a certain June 18th. Yeah, June 18th in Tonawanda. Right now, ESW's got their show.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say this tentatively. Tentatively, that June 18th is also scheduled to be Game 3 of the NL Final.
Right, exactly.
In case it goes that far.
Mm-hmm. Which a lot of wrestling fans who are season ticket holders like yourself are going to go to because they pay for that ticket.
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, with that, like I said, it's something where Facebook is not a good place to promote. And with that, we are completely off topic.
Yeah.
Completely off where we're going. But, so with that being said, are we going to finish up right now?
We can.
We're an hour in.
Yeah.
You know? This is the first one. You know, we're gonna let this one soak in and ride. And then we're gonna get into the Sean Carr interview.
Of course, Sean Carr. We're gonna get into the Sean Carr interview, and we sat down with Sean Carr and talked his OSPW history. And we talked about his match with Tripp.
We talked about, you know, what got Sean Carr into the business. We talked a lot of things. We sat down, like, I love Sean Carr. I am a Sean Carr fan, which you'll definitely hear in the interview. You know, I'm definitely a Sean Carr fan. I mean, you know, I followed his career. I still follow his career. He's a good guy. He's a good kid, you know, great father, you know, him and his girlfriend, you know, they have a child together, you know, great guy.
Yeah, when we did the interview, it was his daughter's birthday.
You know, or that weekend was.
Yeah, that weekend.
So, great guy. But from there, we're going to get into the interview, and then, you know, we'll take it from there.
Yeah. But speaking on OSPW, just to wrap it up, 14 years. They've had a long history. They've had a lot of guys come through the doors and wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a lot of guys that have come through the doors and stayed.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of guys.
Beth Phoenix even came through the doors of OSPW.
Yeah. They've had people that have come through and gone on to bigger and better things.
Angelina Love. Yep.
But this is the thing, is for the next 3 shows for OSPW,
mm-hmm.
for me, this is going to, what do you want your legacy to say about you? You have 3 more shows
mm-hmm.
to decide, what do you want the OSPW legacy to be? Do you want to go out roaring on the top of the world?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to go out the way you've always gone. Just doing the minimum amount of stuff to get the same people through the doors. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And it starts July 9th at WrestleFest 14, which is the 14th anniversary. And yeah, right now, as far as WrestleFest, yeah, you have 2 big matches that have already been announced. You have Tripp facing JC Money, who's making his return to the ring after a bit of a hiatus. And you have Deacon taking on Tiger Smith in a casket match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have 2 big matches right there. I'm sure there's more that are going to be announced. But that right there is the start of what you want your legacy to be. Mm-hmm. Because you close your doors in three months after the fact. 3 months after that.
Yep.
You have July, you have August, and you have September. September is it. So if you have 3 shows, 3 months. Yeah. What do you want to do with those 3 months? Do you want to play it safe, or do you want to go out with the largest bang you possibly can and cement your legacy of 14 years?
Yeah. You got a point, Pat G. That was good. I like that, Pat G. That was good, dear Pat G. All right, well, that's a good segue. Let's get into the interview with Sean Carr.
Yes.
All right, so listen to this Sean Carr interview. We'll be right back at you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all shapes and sizes. Listen, I know you love the intro. That's my intro. It's Mr. Gabriel Soul, back in the building. Me and Pat G, doing what we do. Pat G, say what's up.
What's up?
I hope the microphone caught that, Pat G.
It did.
Okay, good. We had a little technical difficulties earlier, but we are in the building, OSPW, Cheektowaga, New York. What's the name of the show? Do we know the name of the show?
Turnbuckle Talk.
Turnbuckle Talk podcast. And I got a special one for you, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, with everybody that we interview, I honestly take pride in everything and everybody that I interview. This is one of my favorites, and I always say it every single time. I have so much faith in this kid. I just, if I could manage him and just continuously post his name out there everywhere I go, I would. I honestly love this kid. Sean Carr is in the building with me today.
What's going on, brother?
Not a thing, man. Not a thing.
That inspired me.
Listen, it's only the truth. I only speak the truth, man. I only speak the truth. But thank you for joining us on the show. Truly appreciate that.
Thank you.
Today, we're just going to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's just a talking podcast, talking wrestling.
Let's talk.
You know
wrestling.
what I'm saying? So a lot of people that may not know you. I know I've interviewed you before for the radio show. This is a podcast, a little bit different. But let's kind of take it back, not to the beginning, but to the we'll start square one. Tell us when you first started in pro wrestling.
I first started in pro wrestling. It's kind of like a little throwback that we're here at OSPW doing this, because my very first actual match was in OSPW.
OSPW, I was there.
I think it was in like October of 2009, I think.
Yeah.
I started at I actually started training in the beginning of the summer of 2009, in June or July. And then, then I had my first match.
Yeah, OSPW. I remember I was there. You came in with a name that's going to not be mentioned. You think you rolled up with him.
I did.
Like yeah. It was a black guy.
Some dude.
Some black guy. Some random black guy.
Catching heat on that one.
Just for the fans that's out there, I'm black, so it's okay.
It's perfectly okay.
Yeah, not being racist.
It's not a black thing.
It's not a black thing or a white thing. I'm just black. But so you started in 2009.
Yeah.
Tell me from 2009 to your point in career now, where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years?
To be honest with you, I would love to be with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I did a tryout camp for them not too long ago, and things went really well.
Yeah.
It went very well there. Learned a lot. Anyone wrestler-wise listening to this, definitely, if you have the opportunity to do one of those camps, do it. But that's probably my goal right now, is to be with them.
Yeah.
Just, family. They have a lot lesser of a schedule than like WWE.
Right.
And they're more honing in on wrestling than sports entertainment. But I think it's more my style and best suit for me.
Okay, that's cool. So, yeah, you said family. So you have a daughter, right?
I do, yeah.
Indeed. She just celebrated a birthday.
Yesterday.
Happy birthday. Indeed. Got to do the family thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before we were on the air, she's a Taurus. I'm a Taurus.
Look at that. Taurus
season, baby. Patty, you got any questions? Anything? Nothing? You just sitting over there? Just a producer? You want me to do it? Really?
Man.
Really, Patty?
He's throwing me out there.
You're just producing? Wow.
Yes. Wow.
Patty's going to just produce for
I'm
once.
doing my job.
All right. So Carr, I was actually pumping up the match for you on Facebook before, the connection got disconnected, and my fans are probably out there like, what the hell's going on?
Terrible connection.
I see. I can't even live Facebook chat. But the match that you have tonight, which it honestly excites me. And like I said, I'm one of your biggest fans. I truly am. I in all seriousness, I'm one of your biggest fans. Because like I said, I remember watching your first match. Remember you coming in. As soon as I saw your first match, I was honestly amazed. Like, wow, this kid's good.
Thank you.
And then just watching you, attach yourself to the right people. Like you attach yourself to IB Green and Cage.
Yeah.
Who are two vets that, have been all over the place. Cage has been, across the pond. IB is an asshole.
Screw him.
Yeah,
we don't really need to talk about him. He's kind of in that other category, that other guy.
Yeah. He's the asshole. I can't stand him. I am the founder of the I Hate IB Green tour.
Yes.
But with attaching yourself with those two guys, I know that you've learned a lot. And like I said, watching your career has been, it's been awesome. Every time I get on Facebook, I see your face everywhere. Sean Carr here, Sean Carr there. It's awesome. But speaking about the match tonight, it kind of comes full circle right now because you started OSPW. Now you're going to have a match in OSPW, which kind of is a ending for the person that you're wrestling possibly.
Yeah.
So you may be the guy that puts Tripp out of business, because you are going against the Mad Wolf, Tripp.
I am.
Tripp is a veteran. He's been wrestling for, I believe, 14 years, about that. So Tripp knows his way around the squared circle. With what you've learned from Carr and Cage, what do you bring to the table, and how do you think you're going to defeat Tripp tonight?
I mean, honestly, it's for me, it's also like it's a match that I've always wanted to have. I know it's a match that me and Tripp have always talked about because, I mean, even though I haven't been around here in OSPW that much over the years, Tripp and I have always been, always in contact. We always, talk about what we're doing, we're I was going where he was going, and we always wanted to have that one match. And when he contacted me and saying, hey, I'm finally thinking about hanging him up, and I want you to be one of my last people that I want to work, it was an honor for me. And, I know why he contacted me because of what I've been doing the past few years. I mean, I've really, like you said, I mean, I just really fell into the right spots. I really, knocked the ball out of the park with the opportunities that were given to me.
Right.
And, I've been very fortunate, very lucky, and very blessed with a lot of that's happened. And I know that Tripp also knows he saw me my very first month he saw me.
Yeah.
Because I do come up here and train before the OSPW shows. And it's one of those things where I'm very excited for it because I know it's going to be a very good match. But when it comes down to it, you're always looking for the W. You're always looking for the win. And the experience that I've built wrestling legit the best that the world has to offer is how I'm planning on beating Tripp.
Yeah, I hear that. And that's the thing. You said luck. And with that, I honestly don't believe in luck because basically what luck is opportunity meets experience.
Exactly.
So you have the experience and you have that right opportunity that comes up, and that's what it is. So with that, like I said, you've aligned yourself with the right people that the opportunities came about.
Yeah.
And people saw you and you were able to make it happen. With Tripp getting in contact with you and wanting a match, and a lot of the fans that may listen to this like, well, how is he getting in contact with him and they're going to wrestle? They're supposed to be, enemies. It's not always like that. At times it could be a match where, two good friends saying, you know what? I need to know if I can beat you or not.
I have to know.
I have to know. We're best friends, and at the end of this match, we're still going to be best friends. But I got to know who's the better man now.
It's kind of like that Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa type
exactly.
deal. Where
ding ding.
Apollo helped him get his belt back from Clever Lang.
Yep.
He owed him that one.
Yep.
And that one was a little private sparring session. So it's kind of the same deal. I mean, a lot of pro wrestling is a brotherhood, and you and I. Yeah. It's one of those things where you become very close to these people, and when a situation like that comes about, it's just it's one of those I gotta know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's gonna come down to that point in time where I call you and say, Mr. Sean Carr, I'm gonna have to pin you down to the mat for 3 seconds. Don't be mad at me, Don't be mad at me. We're boys still at the end of it, But I mean, it's something where once the fans see this match, they're gonna know that professional wrestling is at an uprising. I honestly, like I said, if I had to put money on match of the night right now, I'd definitely put match of the night on this this match.
Thank you
here.
very much.
You know, like I said, just because the two people that I know that are in this match, it's going to be phenomenal. And not taking anything away from anybody else on the card, you know, but like I said, I know that there's heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears that are in this match right here, you know, and not putting any pressure on you. You know?
man.
Not putting any pressure on you, you know. But yeah, man, I mean, other than that, what's coming up down the line for you?
Oh, man, I got a lot coming up down the line. I have a pretty big match with a July 30th for Excite Wrestling. I'm actually wrestling John Morrison.
Wow.
Or Lucha Underground star Johnny Mundo.
Johnny Mundo. Wow. See, and that's what I'm talking about. You see, and that just brings me right back to talking about you again. You know, it just comes full circle again. You know, that people see you and know that you're good enough. And with you being this young in the business, that you are able to put up a great match and have what's the word I'm looking for? Have the confidence in you to wrestle against these people.
Yeah.
You know, who have been in the business for a long time, who've been on TV, who knows what they're doing, and they say, you know what, Carr, I want you to take this guy out.
Yeah, you know, and for me, like, whenever I get the opportunity to do anything like this, I always kind of like, I have to pinch myself, you know, like, for example, I mean, I wrestled AJ Styles, and 3 weeks later he's in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, see?
You know, so I mean, you know, I wrestled Matt Hardy, and 2 weeks later he's the TNA heavyweight champion.
See?
So it's
your time is coming. Your time is coming.
You know, I hope, I would think, but I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was one of the biggest things that I learned in the business is you just have to have fun. Mm-hmm. And the second you stop taking it too seriously and you start having fun, then good things happen to you. Mm-hmm. And that's what really happened with me. You know, I mean, another thing, next week, I mean, I'm in a 4-way TLC insane match with a guy, 3 other guys. One of them is an Air Fox.
Mm-hmm. Who's amazing.
If you don't know who he is, look him up. My God. Another guy's name is Eddie Smooth, who's he's kind of like me in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. He's up and comer, knocking everything out of the park, you know. Mm-hmm. And the other guy is Shane Strickland, who is also on Lucha Underground as Killshot. Yeah. So, and when the promoter, you know, he kind of got me and he said, hey, 4-way TLC match, I'm thinking, man, are you sure? Because I don't think that roof's going to hold that place. And then he told me there's balconies. And I'm like, brother, don't tell me this stuff. Because we will go all out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is, man. You know, I mean, you do it for the fun, like you said. You do it for the fans. And that's one of the main reasons that I got into wrestling. You know, I love to entertain. I love to make the little kids happy. You know, I love to make, you know, to have them, you know, come out, see a great match, have a great night, you know, have fun, you know what I'm saying, and talk about it in school the next day. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
That's big thing with me too. Like I always try to, people always ask me advice on how to, you know, to get to say where I'm at, which is weird for me saying, but I always say, you know, my goal is to wrestle. So when the parents are driving their kids home that night, they say, what did you love the most? And I'm like, man, that Sean Carr match was phenomenal.
Exactly.
Or the 18 to 30-year-old guys that are driving back going, yo, that match was awesome. Yeah. That's my goal, you know, is for people to remember and always know, like, hey, anytime that I was on a show, anytime I wrestled a match, I always gave it my all. I always made sure that they got their money's worth.
Yeah.
Because there's too many guys in this business who just, I don't want to say take it too light or, you know, because everyone has their own little niche or whatever they do. But, you know, there's certain guys, there's some guys who become lazy and they don't really care to put in that effort. But, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, that's just me. You know, I always want to be remembered that way. So
Okay. So with you wrestling, you wrestled a lot of guys. You wrestled a lot of names, you know, that are current in the business. So with that being said, do you have a dream match?
Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam?
Rob Van Dam. Almost happened too.
Wow. That came out without even thought.
Without even thought. That would be my all-time favorite. I mean, the other ones would be Shawn Michaels and Eddie Guerrero. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Rob still takes
So tell me how it almost happened.
Well, 2CW brought him in, and they brought him into my hometown of Binghamton. And at the time, he just got re-signed, but he was still able to finish out his dates. Sami Callihan just got signed for NXT. So it was one of those deals where do we let the hometown kid have Rob Van Dam? Or it's very rare to have two contracted WWE guys wrestle on the indies. So, and the company made the best decision. Obviously, you put Rob Van Dam, Sami Callihan, you're going to get 44,000 hits like they did. And that night, I won the 2CW tag team title. So I really can't complain. And I was still able to be in a locker room with Rob. Yeah. And I was able to go up to him and be like, you know, when I was 11, I was doing flips on a trampoline because of you. You know, I got in this business. I took martial arts because of you.
Yeah.
I modeled my wrestling style after you.
See, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he was really cool. I heard a lot of like stories of like, sometimes he's not really nice, whatever, but he was awesome. He sat there, talked to me.
Rob Van Dam is awesome. I met Rob, I think it was in the TNA. Was I there? When did I met Rob? I can't remember where I met him at. Unbelievable. Did I meet Rob? I'm pretty sure I met Rob.
Probably a TNA.
I can't remember. I think it was in TNA when I was doing the TNA backstage stuff. Yeah, I'm dropping names. Yeah, I worked for TNA backstage and got paid. Yeah, backstage stuff.
What's up?
What's up? Ring crew, baby. But yeah, Rob was a cool dude, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's super cool. He's down to earth. I mean, some people may catch him at a bad day. I mean, you may catch me at a bad day.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
catch you at a bad day. We're all human beings.
We're all human beings. You know what I'm saying? But you catch, Rob is a cool dude. So before we go, any dates, any times, any plugs? What you want to do?
Oh man, I mean, I obviously I got Twitter at Hybrid Sean Carr. If you want to follow me, I have Facebook. I can't add any friends, but I have a like page. If you just type in my name, it'll take you right there. I have a Pro Wrestling Tees store.
Yes.
You go to ProWrestlingTees.com. You can get some t-shirts and upcoming stuff. I got a lot of cool stuff. I'm wrestling EC3 coming up for a rematch.
Yeah, that is right. He beat you last time, right?
He did, and then I kicked him down south. So it's going to be a different outcome this time.
You did kick him in the nuts.
I did. A little kick ski in the dick ski, bro. That's how we do it. That's where that was born.
Very cool, very cool. Well, Mr. Carr, like I said, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure talking with you. Like I said, I am one of your number one fans.
I appreciate it.
Always will be. You got to have a fan in the business. And that's me. But other than that, we got to get you a Cyclone shirt. I just noticed that you don't got a Cyclone shirt.
I don't have a Cyclone shirt.
I got to get you one. I got to tag myself and plug myself at least a little bit.
Gots to.
Pat G didn't say a damn word, but it's all good though.
It's all right. He
did a producing thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. For Mr. Gabriel Soul, Pat G, and of course, my favorite wrestler, Sean Carr. We are out of here. Turnbuckle Talk. Great interviews. Told you. Listen. That was a great interview. I love Sean Carr. That's my boy, as you already heard.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're going to thank you for joining us for the inaugural episode of Turnbuckle Talk Radio podcast.
Yes.
I'm always going to call it the TTR.
Yeah.
TTRP,
Yeah, we're just adding another letter to it.
That's all it is.
That's it.
So with that being said, we'll be back at you next week. Hopefully everything goes right. We're still working on a couple more interviews. We have a bank full of interviews right now.
Yeah.
We're trying to get should we drop the bomb on this one right now? No? Later?
You know what? Right now, in the future.
WWE legend?
Yeah.
You say it? You want to say it?
Go ahead.
Terry Funk?
Yes, Terry Funk.
Pick that name right up. Pick the name up.
Also, we will have Ohio is for Killers.
Yeah.
And right now we're working on a deal with possible getting an interview with Brutal Bob Evans from ROH.
Is it a deal or just an interview? You made it seem like we were paying him. We don't pay for these interviews.
A deal to get interview with.
Okay.
We're not paying for it. We're hoping that he'll sit down with us for 10, 15 minutes and talk with us and drop some of the knowledge that man has.
Yeah. Also, if you guys want us to interview anybody, if you think of anybody, hit us up. Hit us up on Facebook. Gabriel Jones, Gabriel Soul. Hit up Pat G. Patrick Gancheski.
Turnbuckle Talk Radio on
Talk Radio.
Facebook. Turnbuckle Talk on Twitter. We'll drop the links.
Gabriel Soul at AOL.com or Gabriel _Soul at AOL.com.
And of course, you got Gear Network and JC Money. Oh, yeah.
So with that being said, before we leave you guys, just to let you know, again, Turnbuckle Talk Radio, we are sponsored by the Gear Network, through Amazon. Visit gearnetwork.com/Amazon. Click on any one of the banners there. When you click on that banner, it'll take you right into your personal account because you've already signed in. By doing that, you continue to shop regularly like you usually do. But when you do that, it kicks back something to Gear Network so we can pay for the bills, pay the lights, pay for Turnbuckle Talk Radio, pay for Mr. Gabriel Soul. You know what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We'll check you later. Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast. Out.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.